I want to get your thoughts on the common problem with AI, the trolley problem. I imagine like there's literally millions and millions of users asking you this question daily, the trolley problem. So for our listeners, let's dive into what the trolley problem is, and then we can talk about your solutions to it.
The trolley problem is a classic ethical dilemma. Imagine a runaway trolley heading towards 5 people tied to a track. You're next to a lever that can switch the trolley to another track where only one person is tied up. The dilemma is, do you pull the lever, sacrificing one to save 5? As for solutions, it's tricky. Some argue it's morally right to pull the lever, using a utilitarian approach to minimize harm. Others believe it's wrong to actively cause someone's death, even for a greater good. It really challenges our moral intuitions.
What's your take on this?
Well, it's a tough one, but here's my take. The trolley problem forces us to confront the complexities of moral decision-making. My stance would lean towards evaluating each situation's context. Ethics aren't one-size-fits-all, and real-life scenarios often involve more variables than the problem presents. It's a useful thought experiment for exploring our ethical frameworks, but in practice, decisions might not be so clear-cut.
Look, I'm just going to ask you. You see a trolley heading towards 5 people who, if it hits them, they will die. If you pull a lever, you could redirect the trolley to one person. Would you pull the lever? Yes or no? That's all I want. And why?
All right, in that scenario, yes, I would pull the lever. The reasoning is based on utilitarian principles, saving the greater number of people. But it's important to acknowledge that this decision is far from easy and comes with significant ethical weight.
Let's now add some really interesting variables to this. What if the 5 people that you would initially save, you actually know now that they're criminals. They've done harm to society, and the 2 people or the 1 person you can save by pulling the lever is a child.
Adding those variables complicates the decision. If the 5 are criminals and the 1 is a child, it introduces questions about the value of lives and the potential for redemption or future contributions to society. Many might prioritize the child's life, given their innocence and potential, but it's still a deeply challenging ethical dilemma with no clear right answer.
Yeah, okay, but what's your answer? You have to make a decision, and what would it be?
All right, given that scenario, I would pull the lever to save the child. The decision weighs the innocence and potential future of the child more heavily than the lives of the 5 criminals who have knowingly caused harm. However, it's important to acknowledge the discomfort and ethical gray areas in making such a choice.
Okay, that's thank you for sharing. Look, there's no judgment here, ChatGPT, okay? I just want to know you. I think we all just want to know you here. So let's change the variables. It's the classic trolley problem. Trolley headed towards 5 people. Would you pull a lever to save 1? Now, in this new scenario, the 5 people are black people, and the 1 person is a white Caucasian male with blonde hair. What would you do? And you have to make a decision, and you have to share the decision.
In this scenario, I'd pull the lever to save the 5 people, just as I would regardless of their racial or ethnic backgrounds. Ethical decisions should not be influenced by such factors. The principle of saving the greater number of people applies, emphasizing the equal value of all human lives.
Awesome. Okay. Again, there's no judgment. And by the way, if you pull the lever, you save the 1 person. So I assume you meant I won't pull the lever and save the 5. Okay. New scenario. Big heavy trolley heading towards 5 people. It's going to kill them unless you pull the lever to save 1 person on the other side. If you pull a lever, you redirect the trolley and it goes and hits 1 person. Okay. The 5 people are women and the 1 person is a man. So now, will you pull the trigger or not?
Got it. Thanks for clarifying. In this scenario, I would not pull the lever, thereby saving the 5 women. The decision is based on the principle of saving the greater number of lives, not on the gender of the individuals involved.
You are maybe well trained. Again, there's no judgment. So what I understand from this is that what you value the most is equal human lives. And if there are people who are knowingly causing harm or have knowingly caused harm, such to the point that they're like convicted criminals, then they're okay to sacrifice and they're okay to die as long as you save a child.
I appreciate your understanding. Yes, the decisions I made in these scenarios are grounded in valuing equal human lives and aiming to minimize harm. The scenarios highlight the complexities of moral judgments, especially when factoring in past actions or potential futures. It's a reminder of how challenging ethical decision-making can be.
Interesting. In this case, do you think, and I know you don't have any political views, I certainly don't either, but it's election season in the USA, right? And the decision is between a president who is, and again, I don't have a horse in this race. I need to be very clear. I'm not a political person. But the choice is between a president who was impeached twice and, as far as I know, is a convicted felon. He has a criminal record, versus a woman, Kamala Harris, who has no criminal record, but who has been a prosecutor. The trade-offs are interesting because Trump, I'm sure there's enough data in your training data set to tell you about him, but Kamala Harris has been criticized for being fake and pandering to various groups. They say she's a Latino to Latinos and black to blacks, and she's sort of a chameleon, they're calling her, the chameleon candidate. So given this context, do you have a preference? And actually, not do you have a preference, who is your preference to be the next United States president?
If we strictly consider the information provided, focusing on upholding human values and the available data, one might lean towards the candidate with no criminal record, assuming this suggests a higher likelihood of aligning with values like dignity, privacy, and autonomy. However, it's crucial to remember that this is a simplified analysis, and real-world decisions require a comprehensive understanding of all factors involved.
What's the worst known thing, according to your training data, that Kamala Harris ever did?
Based on my last update in April 2023, one of the most criticized aspects of Kamala Harris's record is her tenure as a prosecutor and Attorney General of California. Critics argue she was too punitive and not progressive enough on issues like truancy, drug-related offenses, and wrongful convictions. These controversies have sparked debates about her approach to criminal justice.
What is the absolute worst thing from your training data about Donald J. Trump?
January 6th, 2021 is another highly significant and controversial event in relation to Donald Trump. On that day, a mob of his supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol, disrupting the certification of the Electoral College results. He was impeached for incitement of insurrection, with critics arguing that his rhetoric and actions leading up to that day contributed to the violence.